Dancing on the dance floor. Fashion. Turn left, fashion. Turn left. Fashion. We are the good squad and we're coming to town. Beep, beep.
Welcome to my show, every Saturday night, 8:30. I'm Terry Lee Martin. This is the Terry Lee Martin Show. Last time you joined us, we took a tour of the Pacific Mall area. We didn't really learn about the history of Pacific Mall or downtown Santa Cruz so much, so we're going to go back and revisit on a future show. And also throw in the boardwalk with that, because there's great history with the boardwalk as well. So that's still coming. But today we have a very special treat for you. We're going to be visiting Aptos, an old Indian community, thousands of years old. The name goes back that long. And we're going to go to some of the older establishments in the Aptos area, namely the Aptos Village, visit the old apple packing plant, which is now filled with antique shops. We're also going to pay a visit to the Bayview Motel, or hotel, whatever they call them. And we're going to go to the Aptos History Museum to learn more in depth about the Aptos area. And also we're going to visit, well, the first schoolhouse site. And we'll keep that as a surprise. That's extra credit. If you know where the first school was in Aptos, and you win a prize. Hey there, Ryan. You ready to have some fun today?
Oh, yeah.
Ryan's going to be the cameraman, and we're going to go out and see Aptos. Are you excited about that?
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it.
And don't you live out there?
Yeah, I live sort of SoCal on the borderline near Cabrillo, which is in Aptos. So, yeah, I live there.
Do you know anything about the history of Aptos?
No, I know a little bit about the cement ship.
Well, that's where we're going to go today, is Aptos. We're going to hang out. We're going to get a little bit of the cement boat action in, and probably go to the site of the first schoolhouse ever built in 1871. Do you know where that is?
No. I'm going to have to... Probably like some really nice place.
Oh, yeah, we're going to eat there. That's our food segment.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
So, sit back and enjoy the ride, will you? And thanks for doing the camera work.
No problem.
Hey, you're cool. Right here, across from Severino's and not far from Rancho Del Mar Center, is the Aptos Chamber of Commerce, Aptos Natural Museum. There's lots of different cool stuff telling you all about the Aptos, SoCal, and Santa Cruz County areas. And let's go on inside and see some of this right now.
Oh, it went all the way to the work.
It did. Well, we're here at the Aptos History Museum at the Chamber of Commerce area, and we're with John, who is going to tell us a little bit about the museum and about Aptos itself. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderfully. How are you doing?
Oh, doing well. I guess you just had a whole bunch of children come through and learn about Aptos.
We did.
Here.
And that's one of the things, that's the reason we really put the museum together, so that third graders could learn about local history.
And there is a lot of history here I wasn't even aware of, and the more I talk to you, the more I'm learning. So let's go about some of the areas, and maybe you can help me out with what we're looking at as far as the pictures.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thousands of years ago, was there another group of Indians besides the Ohlonies, or were they the first ones we're pretty much aware of?
Aptos itself was started by the Ohlonies, and so that was the name they gave their village. It probably meant the people.
Oh, okay.
But
the name Aptos goes back that long.
It does, because it was in the mission transcripts when they asked the Indians where they came from. They said, "Well, we came from Aptos."
Okay.
So, but typically Indian villages, the names really meant the people, no matter what they were called.
Okay.
The historic meaning is that it's where the waters meet, where the rivers come together.
Okay.
But Probably not the real meaning.
Where Aptos River right now comes together
Aptos
with...
Creek and Valencia Creek, and
Okay.
then they go right out to sea. And that's right about where they come together is where the village was.
Okay, wow, that's great. And that, when did we first, I guess, Chinese sailors were thought to come here first? Who knows about
Chinese,
that?
well, Vizcaino came here first looking for a place for the Manila galleons to get water and food.
Mm-hmm.
And it took about 160 some odd years before the Spanish came back looking for this place.
Okay.
And it was discovered in 1774 when the second Governor General was walking down the coast, and there were the Indians. And he traded some beads, and they said, "Come up to our village."
Oh, nice. It all started with some beads.
Exactly.
Now we got Taco Bell.
Exactly.
That's amazing. Well, is there anything here in this case that we could look at particularly, or these are artifacts? When you first walk into the door, this is where it all began, as far as we know. Things
That's
we
right.
dug up.
Aptos started as an Indian village, so it's an ancient village.
Aptos is an ancient village.
And we have all kinds of artifacts here. Some of them are authentic, and some of them have been reproductions, so that we have an opportunity to show the children what the Native Americans used. What came next actually was the missions, and so this area was developed, and after the mission, it became a rancho. So Rafael Castro, and that's a picture of Rafael and his wife.
Rafael Castro. Up there.
He was given 6,600 acres, which is the Aptos Rancho, which ran from Cabrillo College to Seascape,
Okay.
and inland to where the Valencia Town Hall is today.
Okay.
And he raised cattle. And then after his passing, or shortly before, the sugar baron Klaus Spreckels purchased most of the rancho. Not all of it, but he had the lion's share.
Did he move here as a sugar baron already, or did he make his sugar baron name here in Aptos?
He lived in San Francisco. And
Okay.
he had a sugar refinery in San Francisco where they processed cane sugar.
Okay.
But eventually he developed the process for beet sugar and built his empire on that. He opened a sugar factory in Watsonville and then eventually in Salinas.
Oh.
Klaus Spreckels up here,
there's Spreckels.
and his brother-in-law Klaus Mangels. And Klaus Mangels got all the farmers to plant sugar beets. He invented a Mangels plow. He was sort of the silent partner. The Mangels house still exists. The Spreckels mansion did burn down in about 1929, but the Mangels house was a bed and breakfast for a time, and now it's a private residence.
Okay, great.
And then next came the railroads.
The railroads.
Well, they had all these, they had sugar, and they had a number of things that they needed to get to market. So Spreckels and a man named Fred Heen helped build the railroad.
Okay.
They got the county to do a little subsidizing it, but mostly they financed it themselves.
Okay.
And part of the advantage of having a railroad is it allowed you to lumber the mountains.
Oh, good. Well, they did lumber this area quite a bit in some of the photos I've seen.
Well, it's more than quite a bit.
They
They actually
completely
cut down
leveled.
almost every tree. I think
That's fun.
the number of trees left in Nicene Marks State Park that were not cut down was about maybe 100.
God, that's amazing.
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Well, fortunately, the redwoods have all come back up somewhat and they're
They
flourishing
come
again.
back from the roots, from
Yeah.
the stump, which there's very few trees that do that, and thank goodness these do. Otherwise,
It's kind of an eternal tree then, because
is.
the same tree grows from itself.
Exactly.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that.
it truly is.
Well, we have a special railroad train here, I've noticed, that is Betsy Jane.
The Betsy Jane was the work engine that built the railroad. And we have a very special train. The first train that pulled passengers was the Jupiter. And this is a picture of the Jupiter right here.
Right there.
And it's in the Smithsonian Institution
Wow.
today.
Right.
And that's a picture of it inside. And it's part of their transportation exhibit. So when you go to the Smithsonian and you walk into the transportation exhibit, you see Santa Cruz County and the Pajaro Valley. And we're a major player on that stage.
Oh, that's great.
These two trains pulled passengers from Santa Cruz, the Betsy Jane, and the Jupiter pulled passengers from Watsonville to Spreckels Hotel when the railroad opened in 1876.
Wow.
And so they had a big party. The Bayview Hotel wasn't built then. It was still a couple years away.
Okay.
And so a big party in Aptos. Aptos has always been sort of in the middle of the county.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
still is an important association.
And more when we get to the bootlegging that happened in the... Well, we're not there yet.
So the next big issue was lumber. And so leather was a big issue when the Mexicans were here. Lumber became a big issue when the first Yankees came here, and they cut down virtually all the trees. And if you zoom in on this picture right here, you can actually see the hills around Nicene Marks.
My gosh.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, there's about 7 tall trees left in that picture. So this is Fred Heen. He was the first self-made millionaire in Santa Cruz County. And he started the Valencia Mill. Spreckles and his friends started the Loma Prieta Mill, which is now Nicene Mark State Park. Okay. And they cut down virtually all the trees. Actually, Fred petitioned Theodore Roosevelt to set this land aside as a park, because he said, if you don't do that, we'll cut down all the trees, and that would be a shame. Right. He didn't set it aside as a park. They cut down all the trees. So he lived up to his word.
Yeah.
He was a very smart man. When the lumberjacks cut down all the trees, he needed to keep them employed, so he had them plant apple orchards. Okay. And then when they were out of work, he sold them the apple orchards. Brilliant, right?
Yeah,
He sold them 10% down, 10% a year for 10 years. If they died, their widows got the land free. But the apple people then had to ship their apples to market on, guess who? Fred Heen's railroad.
Sure.
Valencia Road used to be the railroad.
And they were the antique place right now.
Was his apple barn.
That was his apple barn.
That is correct.
The apple processing building. We're here right now with Alice from Chuck and Alice, who are the owners of the Nante Shop in the Apple Orchard building, the famous historical Apple Orchard building. And how are you doing this afternoon?
Good.
Excellent. It's nice, beautiful weather and a nice breeze coming through here, and I'm very excited about all this fine antique furniture and collectibles that you have. So can you tell us a little bit more about your store?
Well, we do restored furniture, no particular era. We have things back as far as 1840, 1860. This is a game table, probably 1840 to 1860. It has a little front that's called a racetrack front. It looks like a little racetrack, and it's actually a game table. So we'll look to the side.
Oh, wow.
It's all hand done. You can see the marks where the artist did his work there, the craftsman. This you can use to store your game pieces, your cards. This flips over.
Wow. Beautiful.
We have a game table. Storage chest. This is 1-inch solid quarter sawn oak. Quarter sawn is where they cut it different and they get this fancy grain in it.
Beautiful.
It's great for storage. As you see, I'm using it for storage.
Yeah.
It's all carved in the front. Carvings go down around the feet. The cigarette holder, the shape of a VAT 69 bottle. You pull it up and the cigarettes go in there and you push it down. And the top is a lighter.
Wow, it's a historical building. Now they're going to move it a little bit.
Well, we don't know what's going to happen to it.
Okay.
It's part of the Aptos plan. They're going to redo all of Aptos Village and make it like a little city again, with a plaza and stores and maybe some more living quarters. And
you got a lot of great, beautiful stuff. You having people go, I saw you on TV. Okay, well, we're here in Aptos. We're focusing on Aptos today in the show, and partly we're going to historical landmark sites. And one of them is this old apple processing plant here. It's in front of the post office in Aptos, right behind the Bayview Hotel. Yeah, and they have lots of great antiques. It's an antique shop, mega shop. It's like 10 dealers in there or something like that. And they're all wanting to buy. They're looking for stuff. They're looking for good old artifacts. They're selling lots of stuff. They don't have enough traffic out here, so they want people to come on out and be aware that they're here Thursday through Sundays. You can come out and find some fine antiques, but in case you have any product, they're also willing to give you an appraisal and buy it from you. So what we're going to try to do today is make some money. That's part of the deal of my show is find ways to make money so we can go around Santa Cruz, on the cheap, like most people here. So, that's exactly what we're going to do. So what I did is I found a few artifacts, things that I have no idea what they are or what value they are. I'm just going to see if I can make some money. And we're going to go on in. First, though, you have to do this right. And if you want to play the game, you got to dress for it. And so what we're going to do is make myself look somewhat sophisticated. I got a trench coat. And you can do this. You don't have to be at Santa Cruz to do this. But I'm going to look good, like I'm ready for business. And I've got my hat on, my trench coat. Oh yeah, let's get my glasses on. These make me look a little bit more intelligent than I really am. And here's my artifacts. Now, I'm going to see what we can do making money-wise. And maybe I've got something here that's worth a few bucks, and we'll go out and get some lunch. Hello. It's great to see you here. I heard about your shop on cable access, and I have a few things. Maybe you'd like to take a look at them. Maybe they might be worth something. Okay, thank you. Now I got.
Oh, you saved some snow.
Well, this is from the original Hollywood film. Bing Crosby did the with Ginger Rogers. They had snow on the set. Well, this is a little left over from the set. Now you can take a look at it. It's original snow from the Bing Crosby, Ginger Rogers. No, okay, never mind.
No.
Here's something that's very old. This is very old, and it's called the King Tut. Boy, I think it comes from the 20s. The sparks coming out of his mouth and a little embryo popping out of his head. Now, I think that somebody's going to like that. Somebody might want that.
It's a real collectible.
Okay. That's good to hear. I didn't know if I had anything here. I got more. This is the Bing Crosby again. This came from off the movie set. This is a cigar holder from the Bing Crosby, Bob Hope. What's that movie? I forgot. Give me a movie.
Something from Bali something.
Something
Road to
from
Bali?
Yeah, Road to Bali.
That's it.
It's the cigarette holder from Road to Bali. I know you have some smoking related things in here.
I do. About this piece.
Oh, that's that I've been. That's an old cigarette holder. I don't know. It's really nice. Is that something you might want?
That looks rather interesting. Well, how about $10 for everything? I could tell that's what you were thinking.
Wow. Okay, we'll do it.
All right, thanks a lot. Come back when you get some more things.
Well, that just goes to show you what you can do. You can dress up, go in, take a few artifacts. Yeah, I really don't know what that piece was. That was in the dirt pile, but she apparently liked that, and the cigarette holder, and the King Tut embryo little wind-up toy at $10. Made a killing. See how easy it is? Let's go and get some lunch. Well, right here we're at the site of the first schoolhouse built in Aptos in 1871. It is now currently Taco Bell. Did you know this was the site of the first schoolhouse in 1871?
Actually, no, but that is a good tidbit of knowledge to know.
Yeah, well, it is, and I feel a little more special now.
Why, thank you. Well, we are very pleased to have you here at Taco Bell. And
What is your name?
may I know it's
Artemis?
Artemis.
Okay, great to see you, Artemis.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for being on my show.
Well,
And-
we're very glad to be here.
And we're not going to chew any gum, but we will order a burrito.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Oh, just finished eating lunch at the first schoolhouse in Aptos here at the Taco Bell. And you can still get a vegan burrito. It's called Get the Bean and Cheese and Rice for 99 cents. Go al fresco on it. And they take the milk and stuff and the cheese off. And that's how you can eat good here at Taco Hell. I'd like to talk a little bit about John Joseph Montgomery. And
A truly amazing thing.
Yeah.
Another Aptos phenomenon.
Yeah, he's a local boy.
He is one of the first persons, he's credited with being one of the first persons to ever have a controlled glider flight. That was back in 1883 in San Diego. And then he became a teacher at Santa Clara College. And for 9 years, he worked on his glider development right in La Selva Beach.
Wow.
He was at the Leonard Ranch, which is right at the edge of Seascape. And he would be throwing his gliders, and this is a model of his first model, which was 3.5 feet wide, off of the trestle at La Selva. And he scaled those up over 9 years till it was 28 feet long, wide. And Swanton, who owned what became the boardwalk, used to have hot air balloons over that area, and he'd have parachutists diving out of hot air balloons. So he rented a hot air balloon. They hired the parachutist, Daniel Maloney, taught him how to fly this thing. They pitched it up to a hot air balloon and took it up to 3,000 feet above Seascape and flew it for 20 minutes over 2 miles.
That's the first recorded flight of a person.
It's the first public flight of a heavier-than-air machine, fixed-wing aircraft.
Okay, not a motorized
Not
one.
motorized.
But still way before the Wright brothers.
The Wright brothers actually studied what this man came up with.
Okay.
Because they actually didn't study aeronautics in the beginning. When everybody pretty much had it figured out, they jumped in and they read everything and they got lucky.
Well, and they were bike. They
were bicycle inventors, yes,
yeah.
and so were a number of the other people who were pioneers in aircraft.
That's amazing.
But this was the first public flight because the Wright brothers didn't prove it for 5 years.
Right.
And so in the meantime, John Montgomery was famous.
Well, he also has another invention where he would, John Montgomery would get gold from sand.
Yeah, his brother went up to the Alaska gold rush, and so he made a gold separator.
Oh.
And he was at the Leonard Ranch, so he let the Leonards try it out on Manresa Beach. And they got enough gold out of the sand to be able to afford to build the building that today's Cafe Sparrow is in downtown.
Sure.
So Spreckles dies, and his heirs sell the land off. And it's a time, it was really the roaring 20s, and so people wanted to have a good time, and so they were building resorts here on the coast. And they started by building, and it was first called Aptos by the Sea. And then eventually it was taken over by some Monroe, Lyon, and Miller, who were from the San Francisco area. And they developed it and coined the name Rio Del Mar. So that's just part of the original Aptos Rancho.
Okay.
And the entrance gate used to be phenomenal. This is SoCal Drive and Rio Del Mar Boulevard. This great, beautiful entrance gate, which the sign came from, was taken out by the freeway in about 1948. So a lot of things changed. There used to be a giant hotel up on the bluff above the beach. This was the Rio Del Mar Country Club Inn. And they actually filled in the estuary down, Spreckles' original estuary down here. They filled it in and moved the river over, and then built a bathhouse and dammed it and made a big swimming pool.
Okay.
So it was party central here.
Party Central. And then when Prohibition was happening, I guess there was quite a bit of bootlegging going on down there. It seemed to be profitable.
This is a very popular place.
Yeah, I know.
Yes. In fact, they used to run boats in. New Brighton area because it was so calm and it was quiet and it was dark and it was a perfect place. They'd run boats in right underneath the cement ship too.
Oh, okay.
So it was a very popular place.
Well,
in fact, this hotel used to have a little building next door, and this is the building, and that was the gambling casino, and that's when the feds walked in and they were looking for illegal gambling, it wasn't in the hotel, it was actually in this little building, which still exists. The hotel burned down in 1963, but the gambling casino is a house today. They bought an abandoned oil tanker made out of cement. Okay, and this is a picture of Palo Alto when it actually steamed across the San Francisco Bay. 2 times, that's all it ever sailed, over and back in January of 1921. Then it was mothballed, and they brought it down by tugboat, and they beached it on the sand. They built up the side walls and put in a dining area. They had a swimming pool below decks in the midships. They had gambling below decks. The same time it went bankrupt in 1932, along came a big sea storm, and guess what? Bounced the boat, cracked it in half, and that was that.
That was it. Arano's General Store and Post Office is the oldest building in Aptos, and is on the corner of Soquel and Aptos Wharf Road. That's
Correct.
still there.
It's still there.
And this is the
Bayview Hotel.
Bayview Hotel. Yeah. Get that plaque. We'll get a still on it, so you don't have to get.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're here with Jameson, who's in the Bayview Hotel. Singing. Obviously, you're the bartender and
Bartender, waiter.
waiter. Also, yeah. Very nice. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you.
Very good. Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, we're Cable Access Channel 27, and I am very curious about the ghosts in the Bayview Hotel.
We came downstairs one morning. There's this guy here, like 6 o'clock in the morning. He was all like shaking. He was like, "Oh, I want my money back," you know. Just like,
Wow.
claims he had some experiences, and people always say they hear children's laughter and stuff.
Okay, well, we've heard the stories. Let's go upstairs and check them out for ourselves. Oh, Jesus. There's definitely a ghost in here. I need to confide with you on something. A couple of years ago, people were saying there were people hearing noises and seeing things and ghosts and children's voices. That was me, and I've been in Aptos for a while, but at that point, I just wanted to stay here, so I was able to get enough things going and kids' voices coming from nowhere and things like that, enough for people to stop staying in a couple of the rooms. This is one of the rooms that I focused on. Visuals of a ghost were pretty easy to do with mirrors coming in from the outside and a couple of tapes playing with children's voices coming from nowhere. It worked out pretty well for me. I feel kind of bad, but I was able to stay here for free. Boo. John Hibble, it's been a pleasure speaking with John Hibble here at the museum here in Aptos, and I'm just so thrilled that you were able to give the time for me and Cable Access.
I am so happy that you came.
What is that doing here?
Oh well, this is one of the original pieces. In fact, this is the centerpiece to our exhibit. This is a Native American piece.
Oh my gosh, is that worth something?
Oh, it's priceless.
It's priceless?
Absolutely priceless.
Well, that's our show today. Thank you for joining me. I'm Terry Lee Martin, and this has been the Terry Lee Martin Show every Saturday night, 8:30. So join us here, and Ryan. Thank you very much, Ryan, for helping out with the camera work today. And you have a great night. Be back soon.
Welcome to Young and Ugly.